A bunch of people have asked me to comment about an article written by CNN's Brian Stelter yesterday. And Stelter is not a guy that I particularly follow, but sometimes he says interesting things, and I think that this is really an interesting article. The idea here of what Brian Stelter is arguing is that these new unhinged appearances and interviews and rallies that Donald Trump is doing are a sign of some kind of big storm brewing again, that there's multiple factors here and that there could be some kind of perfect storm, in a sense, between Trump and Trump's followers in the Republican Party and other just opportunists in the Republican Party. Let's take a look at a little bit of the article. Stelter writes, I watched Donald Trump's entire interview with One American News propagandist Dan Ball, and the quote that stood out the most is, "Our country will not survive this." Trump was in the middle of a fact-free rant about vicious Democrats cheating on elections when he said, they're destroying our country. Our country will not survive this. Our country will not survive. Then he sniffed and shifted to immigration, saying, look where they're coming from, clearly mimicking the great replacement theory that Tucker Carlson has been mainlining into homes across the country. These are all signs of the gathering storm. Trump's incessant lies about the last election, Biden didn't get 81 million votes, there's no way, pose obvious threats to future elections. The so-called Stop the Steal movement is racing forward, ignoring the Arizona audit humiliation. Most of us can feel the instability in the air the same way a forecaster can feel a storm coming on. News outlets need to be providing storm warnings, but some are ignoring the threat. That's what, okay, so he talks about his opening essay. He points, so far, this is pretty good. Stelter also points out that the right-wing media, with few exceptions, is a safe space for the big lie. That's according to Timothy Snyder. That's absolutely true. There has not been a real concerted effort, other than the minimum needed to avoid legal problems, to say Biden won. That's it. All of this other stuff is not true. Stuff about voting machines, stuff about bamboo fibers and barbecue sauces and various dressings on ballots and the ballots being cured or sauteed or smoked. You know, I'm exaggerating, but none of this stuff is even, there's no evidence for any of this stuff. Going on to talk about, does Brian Stelter, Liz Cheney says many of her colleagues in the Republican Party privately agree with her that this election lie stuff just looks very bad for Republicans. The idea being these Republicans are going along with this stuff, even though they don't believe it at all. And then the big picture, according to Stelter, is that democracy is in the midst of a grave recession, and points to Hungary, Poland, and Venezuela, countries that are no longer really democratic, although they purportedly hold elections. So I think that there's a, you know, I don't find Stelter's writing to be particularly compelling, and I don't find his commentaries to be particularly interesting. But I do think that he's pointing to some broader truth that can't be denied, at least as a possibility. Trump himself is a narcissist to the absolute highest degree. The election loss hurt him in a way that a non-narcissist can barely understand. I've been reading about it to try to understand how Trump gets to this point where he does the things he's been doing, but it's hard for non-narcissists to really understand what's going on in Trump's brain. And in addition, the idea of people not paying attention to Trump is very, very scary to him as a narcissist. That's Trump. On the follower side, you have really low information, radicalized Trumpists that are in a sense enamored with Trump as this narcissistic egomaniac. I don't think we're exaggerating if we say many of them are willing to die, would be willing to die for Trump, would be. Not that that's going to be a situation that presents itself for 99.999% of them, although, I mean, you know, look at January 6th. It's not merely hyperbolic or theoretical to say a Trumpist might die for Trump in some sense. So you put all of this together and then you combine it with a Republican Party that, even if we grant, Adam Kinzinger has said it, Liz Cheney has said it, a couple of them have said privately, almost nobody agrees with this stuff. Like Kinzinger, I think, said there's a couple people. In my mind, I'm thinking he was talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene or whoever else. If they're right, what that means is it's not that we say, well, at least the Republican Party is sane because behind the scenes they don't believe this stuff. No. They're the worst class of political opportunists we can imagine because behind the scenes they don't believe it, and yet they allow all of this stuff to continue. And in some cases, they actually signal boost it and help it continue. That combination, narcissistic Trump, enamored egomaniac, low information Trump supporters who will do whatever he says and fall for whatever, and then a Republican Party that whatever they believe privately isn't getting in the way of what Donald Trump is doing. That is a very disturbing situation. And you could see circumstances in which if they do well in 22, if they take the House, they're almost certainly impeaching Joe Biden without question. He won't get convicted in the Senate, but almost certainly. And it may be the exact boost to what we are hoping is a dying movement in Trumpism. Doing well in 22 could be the exact type of boost that will make 23 to 25, that legislative session, crazier than even what was going on under Obama. When they 63 times voted to eliminate Obamacare, when they had the House and Obama was president, we said, what a waste of time. This is crazy. That will be nothing compared to what we will see from January of 23 to January of 25 if they take the House, partially because of what they'll do, but partially because of the energy boost it will give to people like Trump and others who will be thinking about 2024. So Stelter's pretty spot on here. I don't know that I would tell the story the way he tells it. I think I would look at maybe some other indicators, but there very well may be a storm brewing. And these are the exact worst people that we would want running the weather satellites, so to speak, when that storm is brewing. Agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. You can find me on Twitter at @dpacman. Science has shown us that lowering your body temperature at night helps you sleep. I can't sleep in a hot room. That's why I love our sponsor, Chili Sleep, which makes customizable, climate-controlled sleep solutions to sleep better. Their flagship products are the Uller sleep system and the Cube sleep system, which is what I have. Both are hydro-powered, temperature-controlled luxury mattress pads. You can make them as cold as 55 degrees Fahrenheit. If you wanted, you could go as hot as 115 degrees. I like the cooler option. I keep mine at 60 degrees, and it gives me a great cool night of sleep. No feeling hot, no more sweating. I'm falling asleep faster, and it pairs perfectly with Chili Sleep's weighted Chili Blanket, which keeps you cold on top, too. They'll give you 20% off everything when you go to chilisleep.com/Pacman. The link is right underneath this video.